Seeing through life. 20 sentences that instantly make people wake up. 1. At a banquet, Mark Twain sat across from a lady. Out of courtesy, he said, "You are very beautiful." The lady, however, did not appreciate the compliment and arrogantly replied, "Too bad I can't say the same about you." Mark Twain calmly and politely responded, "That's okay. You can lie just like I did." The lady then bowed her head in shame. The stones you throw are often the ones that trip you up. 2. A mouse fell into a half-filled rice jar. This unexpected situation made him overjoyed. After confirming there was no danger, he began a life of eating and sleeping in the jar. Soon, the jar was almost empty. Despite this, he couldn't resist the temptation of the rice and stayed in the jar. By the time he finished the rice, he realized jumping out was just a dream, and it was too late to do anything about it. Our seemingly smooth lives are actually full of crises. 3. On the first day, a little white rabbit went fishing but caught nothing. The next day, it went fishing again with the same result. On the third day, as soon as it arrived, a big fish jumped out of the river and shouted, "If you dare use carrots as bait again, I'll flatten you." What you give is what you want to give, not what the other party wants. Efforts made within your own world are worthless. 4. A friend who is a doctor once performed cancer surgery. After opening the patient up, he found the cancer was inoperable and had to sew the patient back up. The patient, a rural resident, couldn't understand the medical terms and insisted that since the surgery was done, the disease would be cured. The doctor had to discharge him. A year later, during a follow-up, the patient was actually cured, and the cancer cells had disappeared. A positive attitude is the best surgery. 5. That year, he was sitting in a cafe waiting for a friend. A girl walked up to him and asked, "Are you here for a blind date arranged by Aunt Wong?" He looked up and found she was exactly his type. He thought, why not go along with it, and quickly agreed, "Yes, please sit down." On their wedding day, he confessed that he wasn't there for a blind date. His wife laughed and said, "Neither was I. I was just looking for an excuse to talk to you." When opportunity comes, seize it without hesitation. 6. On a fast-moving train, an old man accidentally dropped a newly bought shoe out the window. Everyone felt sorry for him, but the old man immediately threw the other shoe out the window too. This act surprised everyone. The old man explained, "No matter how expensive it is, one shoe is useless to me now. If someone finds a pair, they might be able to wear them. Pain that cannot be undone is better to let go of early." 7. During a public vote for the most beautiful girl in the class, an average-looking girl named Xiaomei gave a speech. "If I am elected, in a few years, my classmates can proudly say to their husbands that I was more beautiful than the class beauty in college." As a result, she was elected unanimously. To persuade others to support you, it's not necessary to prove you're better than others, but to make others feel that because of you, they become better and more accomplished. 8. An old man selling porcelain bowls was walking down the road with a shoulder pole. Suddenly, a porcelain bowl fell to the ground and shattered. However, the old man continued walking without looking back. Bystanders were puzzled and asked why he didn't look back at the broken bowl. The old man replied, "No matter how much I look back, the bowl is still broken. Learn to accept and let go of what you have lost. After all, many things will not come back or change just because you are sad." 9. An old monk asked a young monk, "If taking a step forward means death, and taking a step back means ruin, what would you do?" The young monk replied without hesitation, "I would step aside." When faced with difficult situations in life, changing your perspective might reveal that the side paths are also roads. 10. A poor man asked Buddha, "Why am I so poor?" Buddha replied, "Because you haven't learned to give." The poor man said, "I have nothing. How can I give?" Buddha said, "A person with nothing can still give 7 things: a smile, kind words, a kind heart, a good look, helpful actions, making way for others, and tolerance. Don't fuss over meaningless things. By giving more to others, you might gain unexpected wealth and happiness. 11. A young apprentice in a bicycle shop received a broken bicycle. Besides repairing it, he polished it to make it look brand new. Other apprentices laughed at him for his extra effort. The next day, the bicycle owner hired him to work at his company. Standing out is simple. Just be diligent. 12. An old monk gathered his devoted disciples and asked each to bring back a bundle of firewood from South Mountain. The disciples hurried to the river not far from the mountain, only to find a flood rushing down, making it impossible to cross and gather firewood. They returned empty-handed and dejected, except for one young monk. The master asked him why. The young monk took out an apple and said, "I couldn't cross the river or gather firewood, but I found an apple tree by the river and picked this apple." In life, there are endless roads and rivers that can't be crossed. Turning back is a kind of wisdom, but true wisdom is to do something meaningful by the river, like picking an apple. 13. Someone was sheltering from the rain under an eave and saw Guanyin walking by with an umbrella. He asked, "Guanyin, can you help a soul in need and shelter me?" Guanyin replied, "I am in the rain. You are under the eave. You don't need my help." The person immediately stepped into the rain and said, "Now I am in the rain. Can you help me?" Guanyin replied, "I am in the rain, and I don't get wet because of the umbrella. You get wet because you don't have an umbrella. So, it's not me helping myself, but the umbrella. If you want help, don't ask me. Find an umbrella." Then she walked away. The next day, facing difficulties, the person went to a temple to seek help from Guanyin. Inside, he saw someone praying in front of Guanyin's statue. The person looked exactly like Guanyin. He asked, "Are you Guanyin?" The person replied, "Yes, I am Guanyin." He then asked, "Why are you praying to yourself?" Guanyin smiled and said, "I also encounter difficulties, but I know it's better to rely on oneself than to seek help from others. In the storms and challenges of life, only self-reliance leads to true liberation." 14. A young man asked a Taoist master, "Some people say I am a genius, while others call me an idiot. What do you think?" The master asked, "How do you see yourself?" The young man was puzzled. The master explained, for example, a pound of rice is seen as a pancake by a baker, wine by a brewer, and a meal by a beggar. You are still that pound of rice. Only we can decide what we are, and others will see us based on how we see ourselves. 15. A Zen master saw a scorpion fall into the water and decided to save it. As soon as he touched it, the scorpion stung his finger. The master, undeterred, tried again and was stung once more. A bystander asked, "Why save it when it keeps stinging you?" The master replied, "Stinging is the scorpion's nature, and kindness is my nature. Should I give up my nature because of its nature? Stick to what is inherent in your heart, and do not change your thoughts because of external circumstances. If you become bad because of others' badness, then there is no difference between you and them." 16. Nelson Mandela was imprisoned for 27 years and endured much suffering. When he became president, he invited 3 guards who had mistreated him to the inauguration. When Mandela stood up and respectfully greeted the guards, everyone present and the world were stunned. He said, "When I walked out of the prison, I knew if I didn't leave my pain and resentment behind, I would still be in prison. If you use your feet to kick others, you cannot take off and fully find your world." 17. Gong Sun Yi, a chancellor of the state of Lu during the Warring States period, loved to eat fresh turtle. Many people brought him turtles, but he refused them all. His brother asked, "You always love eating turtle. Why don't you accept them?" Gong Sun Yi replied, "Precisely because I love turtles, I cannot accept them. Eating a few turtles is trivial, but if I often accept gifts, I will gain a bad reputation for bribery and may lose my position as chancellor. Then, no matter how much I love turtles, I won't be able to eat them. Not accepting small benefits now ensures long-term enjoyment. 18. In a PhD group, someone asked if a drop of water falling from a great height would injure or kill a person. The group became lively with various calculations and discussions for an hour. Then someone who accidentally joined the group asked, "Have you never been in the rain?" People often get trapped in conventional thinking and forget the simplest and most direct solutions. 19. A gold mining team walked through the desert. Everyone was struggling and in pain, except for one person who was cheerful. When asked why, he replied, "Because I carried the least." Happiness is simple. Have less. 20. A sturdy lock hung on a large gate. An iron rod tried with all its might but couldn't open it. Then a small key came, slipped into the keyhole, turned gently, and the lock clicked open. The iron rod asked in surprise, "Why couldn't I open it despite my efforts? But you did it so easily." The key replied, "Because I understand its heart. Every person's heart is like a locked door. No matter how strong the iron rod, it can't pry it open. Only care and understanding can turn oneself into a delicate key to enter someone else's heart." All right, that's all for today's sharing. Thank you for watching. I hope today's content has touched you. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet, so we can accompany you every day. Let's grow together, be happy together, and age gracefully together. See you next time.